No, I can't hear it. Good evening and welcome to the Dissenting Goyim Show, brought to you by Dyed in the Wool History Productions. Um, and this week has been interesting, and we are glad to have y'all back here listening to us. And so I'm just going to get to it, right? I was going to start with Iran or the Iran conflict. However, Providence has spoken, and yesterday has given us a very interesting look into, actually today too, interesting look into where the MAGA movement is now and how it is brutally falling apart. And I really enjoyed actually Candace's description of it, which is the MIGA, Make Israel Great Again, because it does summarize how much this movement has been not just hijacked, but it's been destroyed. There's no more MAGA left. Anybody that wanted to make America great again, you better find a different movement, a different person. Maybe we could turn back the clock and go with the old Ron Paul narrative and the Rand Pauls, and the Thomas Masseys, because those are really all who we have left to hold on to for the idea that America can be saved. And really, from the way we're looking at it, I'm not sure, right? So just this week, we've had an interesting moment of what we call religious liberties, and it has been an religious liberty commission put together by Donald Trump to show how much he cares about religion. Well, realistically, he doesn't. How do we know that? Is because once Israel was pressed and they were up against a wall by a Catholic, we saw what happened. That seems to be a very repetitive cycle in history where the Catholics seem to be the ones that are easiest to be removed, and people tend, they're not, I'm sorry, not the easiest to be removed, but they're the ones that will always be removed because they always question the best, right? So, uh, the interesting aspect of this is that it goes against one, the First Amendment, because we don't have freedom of religion, especially when we pick one over everything else and call it, our social justice, so to speak, right? In 1787, our founding fathers went to great lengths to launch the best counter revolution that has ever been made in American history, because specifically they launched a counter revolution to prevent what is happening now, to prevent the Jewish merchants of the East India companies that had absolute total control over the markets in America, that had our major cities turned into essentially cesspools, moralist areas where people were falling for the same old crap that we're seeing now. Okay, the sexualized, the alcoholic, the um over addicted people that want to become idle, and they're not doing much, right? Well, sorry, they want to become idle, and they're not learning much. They're just kind of there. Well, our founding fathers recognized that that was a significant problem, that we have to build our own industry, be independent from this. Otherwise, we will find ourselves completely colonized by this specific group. Now, our founding fathers went into convention. They decided that they were going to have a federal republic that was highly restricted, even down to the money. And despite Alexander Hamilton creating powers that were not there, that he called implied powers, our Constitution said things plain and simple, right? Can't coin money, can't create banks. You know, you can't make treaties with, states can't make treaties with other powers, right? That's the federal government. The states gave up some sovereignty. In return, they were protected, and everybody went along with the American experiment. Well, after that, our second generation of founders made sure they developed the industry. The founding fathers developed the structure, the plan. The second generation of founders, which are the kids of those founding generation, upheld the experiment, and they said, we are going to make sure we are free of any of these uh, other foreign powers, right? You had Monroe establish the American identity. You had Thomas Handelside Perkins establish the a trade that would allow him to reinvest into industry, and you had everybody on the same page, to the point that in 1830, America was almost unstoppable as far as progress in industry and economic power and where they were in the world and how they could defend themselves, and all because we had the right structure, the right plan, and we made sure we were independent. Right. So we see something that was the last hiccup in the plan for these people, and that's the freedom of religion. Right. Freedom of religion is to make sure everyone in America can say, well, you have the freedom of speech. You can say what you want. And you can worship who you want. Well, at the strike of a pen yesterday, we found out that that's not ever the case anymore. That we must choose a religion to worship the best and the most and create a God out of it over everything else because why? They are leeches to society. And so we had this Religious Liberties Commission convene, and we saw a Catholic put Israel to the wall. And not only did she put Israel to the wall, she put Zionists to the wall and asked very specifically what is the definition of anti-Semitism, because it seems to be malleable and that could be applied to absolute anything and everything. And you have people like Ted Cruz and Ben Shapiro and all these other people repeating the same damn talking points that they think. It's that they get paid to say, and so we saw this. We saw it very wonderfully put. It was Carrie Jean Boiler, right? She said, "What is this definition?" And then she followed it up with, "Well, as a Catholic, I don't honor that, and so does that make me anti-Semite, an anti-Semite?" Now, of course, anybody knows that. Well, they're not Semitic people. How do not? Sorry, not Catholics, but the Israelis are not Semitic people. They were from Eastern Europe. Their language is westernized. Ask Elazir or look into Elazir ben Yudah, his story, who was paid by the Rothschilds to create a new language, a new version of it, right? And they hated everything about any of the orthodoxy beliefs. They moved forward looking to settle Israel and remove everybody else from there. They were the Jews, but not Jews. They were as Revelations 2:8 through 11 says, the synagogue of Satan, because they didn't care. They wanted the name, they wanted the hereditary title and the prophecy. So let's take a listen to this clip real quick, and we can find out just where Donald Trump stands in making America great again. Because one comment that I got on here was it was to protect freedom. Well, Donald Trump did not protect freedom because the very person questioning this was removed. So we can all sit there and watch a bunch of Zionists agree that we should all worship Israel, the golden calf. So here we go. Let's go ahead and listen wholeheartedly to this and recognize this as a problem.
So I need to ask you, in a country built on religious liberty in the First Amendment, do you believe someone can stand firmly against anti-Semitism, including what you experienced, and at the same time condemn the mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza, or reject political Zionism, or not support the political state of Israel? Or do you believe that speaking out about what many Americans view as genocide in Gaza should be treated as anti-Semitic? Because in my view, the United States cannot and must not make loyalty to a particular theology about Israel a litmus test for protected speech or moral legitimacy.